camera is rolling. Been rolling on the
Here we are.
After
A week hiatus due to someone having to get all the possible tissues together, they have now dried their eyes, and Jason Jamerson is now able to talk about the win that didn't happen for the Detroit Lions. I am Shaun Manning. As I've already said, this is Jason Jamerson. Last time we were here, we had great hopes, even myself included.
No, oh man, listen.
I wish them the best.
It was a good game. It was a good game.
Was it a good game?
Yeah, it was a good game.
Or was it?
So listen, man. I told you over the phone already. It didn't. How they lost? Yes, that upset me because I'm just like, come on now, y'all. But we was talking during the game, texting during the game. I said they scored one touchdown before they do in the second half. The game's over.
Yeah.
And they just, the most Lions things start happening, dropping passes that they always catch.
Yeah.
Interception bounces off somebody's face mask and lands in the other team's hands.
Yeah.
Jameer Gibbs with a very uncharacteristic fumble.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's that drop pass.
Yeah.
And that fumble were the two things that did them in, because it put them. The drop pass would have got them that I'm pretty sure they would have scored a touchdown after that, because they would have been within the 20-yard line. And the fumble,
they were rolling for the most part.
Yeah, and the fumble put the 49ers like within their 20-yard line.
Right.
So they had a short field to deal with, and you can't. I don't care how good your defense is. You got the 49ers on the other side of the football. You can't give them short fields like that and expect to come away with 3 points every time.
Where do you stand on the field goal kicking?
I think that was and I've debated people this ever since it happened. I think it was the right call. You don't stop doing what got you there just because it's the safe thing to do. This is what I love about Dan Campbell. He plays to win the game. You score a touchdown, they are deflated, they're demoralized, they're done. And then even on top of that, if you look at the statistics, our field goal kicker from that range, I believe they say he's like 70-some% versus on 4th and 3 or shorter, we're 88%. We're going for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
The numbers say go for it on 4th down. And it's not like it was Jared Goff got sacked or there's something ridiculous happened. It was a very uncharacteristic drop by Josh Reynolds, which yes, he dropped that pass. Yes, we were all mad at him at that time. Calm down. All right? Calm down.
So you don't believe this was a part of the script for Josh Reynolds?
No.
And for the NFL, for him to blow the game and us have to see the rematch of
Nobody
Andy
wanted
Reid
to see that rematch. Why would that be in the script if nobody wanted to see it?
Listen, because
I'll tell you, the script would have been.
The world would have imploded and then exploded had there been Baltimore and Detroit.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what the script, as far as the most money the NFL could have made,
if the
Lions and the Chiefs made it.
For sure.
The rematch of the first game of the season.
For sure.
You got Taylor Swift in one box. You got Eminem in the other box.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe we get an old Eminem, Christina Aguilera type verse.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's the most money is there. Now we got San Francisco. E40 will probably be there, but
of course E40.
Snoop will be there. Snoop will be there.
I mean, it's a Super Bowl, so they'll all be there.
The Babe
will be there.
Yeah. But the story right there, like the Lions' first Super Bowl ever.
Usher will be there too.
Usher will be there.
Post Malone will be there as well. He's working. I believe he's
added act.
I do believe so. I'm not entirely.
Did you see that? Did you see that meme? For the Usher, they said one song got to go, and it was Confessions. You Don't Have to Call. Nice and Slow, and I want to say My Way.
It would have to be Confessions because the other songs are kid friendly.
Confession, kid friendly. Forget the kid friendly.
That's why I said it would have to be Confessions to be the one that would have to go.
No, Confessions?
No, I'm not saying it would have to go. We're talking about
I'm talking
the NFL.
I'm talking no, not the NFL. It was a meme. That was just like one got to go. Just talking. The person who's reading it has to pick a song for it to go.
Ooh. What are the songs again?
Confessions, Nice and Slow, You Don't Have to Call, and My Way.
My Way. He was a child.
So that's pretty fast.
Because he was a child. So as an adult, I would have to cut the child song.
He wasn't too much older when he did Nice and Slow, was he?
Old enough. I think My Way might have been 17, 18. I think Nice and Slow might have been like 22, 23. You know, in that span of years,
In the end,
it's a life. It's a lot of life. Yeah,
My
wasn't he
way,
dancing in the? Wasn't he fighting
my
Tyrese in that
way.
video?
Possibly.
Yeah, he was
Tyrese
fighting
been
Tyrese. He was in the junkyard. He was a child.
Listen, Tyrese was a video vixen and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he
He
came
been in
on.
so many videos.
Yeah, he came on that bus singing that Coca
He was in
Cola.
that Keisha Cole music video.
Yeah, he was the guy.
That man was a video
I've
vixen.
told you the story. He was the guy. So when I moved
once
to
this
LA,
football season is over with,
I had to tighten it up.
we gonna have some true
Man,
some Shaun true Hollywood stories.
He was the reason. I said he in Transformers. He's in this movie. He was waist. I mean, well, he's from LA, so Waist Deep gave him a pass. Baby Boy gave him a pass. Like, he's from LA. John Singleton. But when he just started getting in them big ones, I said, "This is my competition." Will Smith is
really interesting because I know you say that's your competition, but for whatever reason, Spanky Hayes keeps on saying that a lot of the roles he was supposed to get, Tyrese got, and that's why he don't like them. They don't look nothing alike.
But that's Hollywood. So there's only. I still would like to work. So we'll just say here, locally, right? We'll just say locally. I saw, which I guess for this situation it would be the reverse, but I saw the people that they ended up casting for the auditions I did, whether it be a local, Tubi style movies, or if it was more when Detroit 187 was here. Like I auditioned for a part of Detroit 187, and they cast an ape. Okay, not a literal ape, but like, he was every bit of in. Like I don't even know what I was doing. I was doing something at home, and I was hearing the lines. I said, "Man, that sounds very familiar." And I turned around to the TV. I'm not even sure why the show was on because I didn't watch it. And I said, I auditioned for that. And then I looked at the guy. And I said, how? But to your Spanky Hayes point, he is not a looker, as some might say. He's a shorter gentleman. And to me, it would have been a shoe-in for them to choose Tyrese because Tyrese would bring more money. He brings sex appeal. Hence me making sure I was in shape because in Hollywood, sex sells. Okay, so you got a black guy. All right, cool. We have a black audience. He's in shape. Even better. Well, now we get women because they know women across the board love black men, especially one that's in shape. Now, most women probably don't really care so much if he sings. That's probably more of a black-white girl situation. And he can sing. It's easy. Spanky Hayes was what? Wilding out?
Yeah, wilding out, basically.
Yeah, so because it's Hollywood. So listen, I don't think it was for him. I think because there's not that many of us, he had an audition. Like, I don't think Jerry Bruckheimer was sitting in his office with Steven Spielberg, with Shia LaBeouf and Josh Duhamel, and they were like,
So wasn't that? So it was an old Spanky clip when he was doing the radio.
Yeah,
Tiffany Haddish just so happened to be,
of course,
on like one of his co-hosts.
Yeah,
and so Spanky's doing the show. He was like, he basically somebody posted it talking about like he did basically what Cat Williams did before Cat Williams did it. He was talking about like it was like, yeah, man, I was in the room and it was me and I don't want to name no names, but the person was like, all right, both of you guys had good auditions, but who's gonna give me some head? And he was just like, nah, not me. He was like, yeah, and now I'm not in Baby Boy, and so not only and at one point he got on Tyrese's nerves enough, or said something about Tyrese enough for Tyrese to make a whole like 5-minute video directed towards Spanky Hayes. So I'm not saying Spanky telling the truth. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying two things happened.
Because I want to work. As anybody that knows me knows, when I came back from LA, I had enough stories to write a book. I've seen things.
Mm-hmm.
I told some of the people the things that I saw. Nobody believed me. Now here we are,
Listen,
20
man,
years later,
and this is you.
things are popping up. But
you may want to work, but you can also get on TMZ.
I could got to TMZ. I could go talk to Shannon Sharp.
Sit right there.
But then how would I even get to him?
But Shaun,
Like, how would I even get to him?
Why didn't you say the thing? Why did you say the thing with it happened?
Because nobody, like, I don't have, my status, as they say instead of status. My status, I'm not on anybody's radar at the moment. But to Spanky's point, I mean, that's just how it goes. Whether you're black, white, male, female, that's the game. Whether you choose to engage in that, it's up to you. I chose not to. I'm not saying I'd be where Tyrese is. I could have been passed. I could have still ended up where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But of the dozen or so cat calls, I don't even know what the male version of a cat call would be. But
dang, bro.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It just wasn't for me.
That boy thick.
No, wow. Yeah, no, it just wasn't me. Because that's not how I would be able. Like, I couldn't live with myself. I'd be the first to tell anybody if it was. Name an old woman.
Meryl Streep.
If it was, listen here, if Meryl Streep made me an offer back then, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But I was comfortable.
Well, she made not just an improper offer, but it was also racist.
Listen here.
She's like, you monkey, come. She turned the freezer out of nowhere. Hello, monkey.
Now that would have been.
Would you like to be in a role in my new film?
Nah, I wouldn't be able to ride out with the monkey. Just hearing you say it, because in my mind when you said racist, I'm like, yeah, for sure. No, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Definitely not monkey.
I don't know why monkey sometimes be sounding worse than the N-word.
No, it does. Monkey does sound worse.
Come on, monkey.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to. But but those are my lines. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that's where I would draw morally. My moral clause is not as much as everybody else's. But where I do draw the line, that's where I would, in fact, draw the line.
That's where you draw the line. Other than that, you Eddie Guerrero.
Listen, man, I was 19, man. At 19, if what's the old lady that just died? She almost made 100. White lady. Is it Bette Midler? No, it ain't. Betty White.
Betty White.
If Betty White.
You said just died. That was like 3 years ago, wasn't it?
I thought DMX just died. That was 2 years ago.
I told you the pandemic put us in a time vortex.
What's up? Who did you say? If Meryl Streep and Betty White ran up on me and said, listen, we got the job for you, but we going to need every bit of that 19-year-old body. Okay. So then the minute a gentleman walked in, oh no, I'm done. But that's the thing. It was never, it was, it was always meant, but they were mostly in the positions of power. Because we figured, this was what I lived out there from 02 to 06. And I came back briefly for like a funeral. And so there was some, time in there, but yeah, man, that's the game. So I can't speak on what Spanky's speaking on, but I have heard, when I was there, the names are familiar as far as, I told you, once you land, it's like, once you land and you get to that black community, oh man, they just be like, oh yeah, such and such is married. You're like, what? Who is married? I need to tell my mother, but and then I ended up,
she'll be so disappointed.
And I did end up telling my mother, and
she was so disappointed.
She didn't believe me, but that was about I don't can't say it. Well, no, I think it is, because I think it might be out. Queen Latifah. Does everybody?
You said what?
Queen Latifah.
Who?
Queen Latifah.
What about her?
Like, is everybody? Is she known
to be one of the pioneers of female rap?
UNITY. So moving on.
What you saying, man?
Is she with women now?
What?
Don't do that.
She what? Oh wow! You heard it here first.
Don't you do that.
Breaking news.
Okay.
Shaun Manning, man who lived in LA for 4 years. was tied deeply into the Black Hollywood community. So he knows, has now confirmed what we all been thinking for years. She's confirmed it. Queen Latifah is in fact Cleo.
I'm not confirming. I mean, I'm just confirming that
you just confirmed it.
Confirmed that she
just confirmed it. We're
going
viral, baby. We're going viral.
That she liked.
We're going viral. We should have been told this story. That's what this podcast should have been.
That she liked to party.
Oh, she likes to party.
She did like to party.
With who?
You know, everybody.
No, so now she's the water boy. I like girls. I like guys too.
Well, in the instance that I saw, yes. But I mean, now I think it's kind of common knowledge. So, but then, you know, I just told
I had no idea. Comment in the comments.
Oh, wow. just a select few people. You know, but I had told my mother because, you know, she was a fan. You know, kind of like, it's kind of like a situation where everybody put that local guy here up on this pedestal. And I'm like, man, I don't, relationship advice. Like, he's trash.
What local guy?
I'm not starting with you. And I'd be like, man, get that out of here. You come to find out, you know, according to social media, the man's a deadbeat. I'm like, this is who y'all was looking up to? Like, this is who y'all was looking up to for advice?
Well, when we figure out who Shaun is talking about, we'll be sure to
Well, no, we will be sure to do anything.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Me either.
But
so the Super Bowl.
Hold on, real quick before we get back to that, because we are going to get back to football. There's a gospel rapper named Lecrae, right?
Okay, yeah.
He has a podcast. I'm only name dropping because he said it on his podcast. So, you know, I saw the clip on Instagram and TikTok, one of them too, and he was saying he went to some of Diddy's parties, right?
Yeah.
He said, I didn't, you know, I was invited, I went, I didn't do nothing crazy. He was like, he said, in his experience, he hasn't seen people get blackballed because they didn't do something. He just saw that if they did do something, you know, if they did accept an indecent proposal, then their career accelerated. It got on like the fast track.
Oh, without question.
It's not like they just said, no, I'm straight, and they just got blocked right then. Like, oh yeah, you'll never work in this time
No,
again.
I mean, culturally, they still want everybody to work for the most part. But as you said, or as we say often, he who has the gold
makes a rule.
Right. And so it was never a situation to where it was like pressure. You know, because I imagine in their minds, like somebody's gonna say yes. Man, you know, and that person will be, and I wasn't this shape then, but at that time, because it's common knowledge, you look at the Terry Crews, this man is 55, 6'2", and a man fondled his genitals in front
of his wife.
At a party. So
he was just like, bro.
Right. So that, you know, that is who you're dealing with. And I don't know if this man knew him personally, but, you know, you look at him on TV, you watch him on YouTube with C.T. Fletcher, you know, he's fun-loving, you know, he tat. You know what I mean? You know, right. He plays the game as, you know, a black man has to in the industry. You know, he plays the game, and maybe that's who he thought he was, not realizing his Flint roots. But, you know, yeah, there is no pressure. Like, it's not about to be 10 of them and you don't have a choice. They just, you know, hey, you could work with Denzel. You know, how bad do you want the job? Not that bad. And it's all right, you know, see you next time. All righty. You know, so it's just the game. And yeah, but never a situation to where, now, I told you that time I got lost somewhere and needed a ride, and I didn't know where I was at the time, and I got into this man's car, and he talking about shirtless wrestling. I said, wait a minute now.
Oh, you know what they say?
Oh.
You know what they say? Somebody give you a ride. Either the gas, grass,
or pass. And then there was one where I was with the other guy who's still kind of out there, so I'll keep his name whatever. But when we had went up in the hills, and he had said something like, "Oh, like once that gate had closed, he was like, I could do anything." And then in that moment, I said, in my mind, I had planned like to kill him for like the next 40 minutes. I walked into this house on the hill, and walking in, needed to figure out like who I was going to kill first, because once he said that, and like granted he was joking. Once he said that, my mind, I said like I've got to make it back down the hill.
You're making without context. The viewers think you're a villain right now. So
Well, that's fine. And
you're gonna have to tell the story at some point.
And so at some point, but we walk in. There's a guy's mom in there grilling barbecue chicken. Like it was out, on the hill. She was making barbecue chicken, which was fantastic, by the way.
Oh, you ate the chicken?
But listen, man, I was hungry.
Then
like a little girl,
it's like eating the Twinkie on your bed.
Okay, now then a little girl, they kind of ran in.
Wonder why they was upset with you. You ate the chicken.
I was like, oh, it's a safe.
You a tease, Shaun.
So this is a safe
Hollywood tease.
This is a safe space. But so I hung out briefly, but I ended up just getting out of there, and that was it. But definitely, I feel I have had multiple, a couple dozen opportunities, but it came with some string attached that I wasn't comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, somebody else accepted that string because I've seen the work later. But yeah, that's that's just kind of how it goes.
Obviously, haven't accepted any strings. I'm over here, still here, wearing plain clothes. My shirt don't even got a brand, nor do these pants.
Neither does.
He got the Under Armour on. I'm wearing a shirt called shirt.
Neither just Steve Jobs. These pants were on
sale. That's what Steve Jobs wants you to think. He just had that Versace,
plain edition,
the plain Versace,
the Kmart T-shirt.
That plain Versace turtleneck is what he had. It's just.
Yeah, with the jeans and the dad shoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bill Gates and them, they're not.
Me on the other hand, I don't even know where these pants came from. I have them.
They literally
CSG. What does CSG stand for, Shaun?
So what?
CSG. What brand is that?
Creative Sports Gear. So the Chiefs and the 49ers are playing this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got?
I'm going to tell you right now who I got. And it ain't the 49ers. Let's go to my big board right here. Let's go to Jason's big board, all right? Have you been, I haven't had time to watch. Have you been green screening the big board right here?
I have not, but you know what? I don't know how to do that yet. I'm figuring it out.
Once you figure it out, you got to put a green screen the big board right here, all right? So if you look at the last two games from the San Francisco 49ers, we have the Green Bay Packers, who I feel like overachieved in that game. Even though they did get out of there in this season, they overachieved in that game. They struggled, barely beat them. Had to rely on the Lions' mistakes for them to come back in that game.
Even though they did shellac the Lions in the second half.
Once again, because of the Lions' mistakes. They catch that pass, they don't fumble the ball, they catch that interception, totally different game.
Probably a blowout.
It's probably a blowout. It's not like they just had a system that just decided, yeah.
True.
Anyways,
this is true.
So you got them, right? You go on the other side, over there, we got Patrick Mahomes.
P-Holmes.
Don't call him that. Because you said Holmes and it almost sounded like Hole for a second. You can't call him that.
Okay.
So we got Patrick Mahomes. Their last two games, they beat the Buffalo Bills.
They did beat the Buffalo Bills.
And they
barely.
And they quite handily beat the Baltimore Ravens.
But still barely. It wasn't like either team. They didn't score a lot either.
Are the Bills better than the Packers?
Yes, because Josh Allen is better. Yes.
And it pains me to say it. This season, were the Baltimore Ravens better than the Detroit Lions?
You're asking me?
Mm-hmm. The point I'm trying to make.
Sure, they were better.
Who had the harder road to the Super Bowl? The team that had a bye week,
49,
then played the Packers,
okay,
and then played the Lions,
okay,
or the team that had to play Miami first, then the Bills, then the number 1 seed Ravens.
Okay.
And not once again. No. Listen.
We're gonna come back to my board now.
Hold on, because I got 2 more things on my board.
But you asked me a question.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Go ahead.
So briefly,
if you need to go to your board to answer, go right ahead.
So briefly go to my board.
Okay.
Okay. We have Kansas City Chiefs. We have Miami. Injury ridden. Miami.
Okay.
Tua, who, when standing by himself, cannot outthrow Dan Orlovsky. Okay, so we're gonna get him out of there. All right, so we're not even gonna discuss Miami any further. Brandon Chubb, he was injured. Their defense hobbled. You're out of there. All right, now we're gonna go on to Buffalo, who Kansas City mentally has the edge over because they've beaten them the majority of the time, and Josh Allen in the playoffs. And Josh Allen, for whatever reason, cannot seem to get past them when it matters the most. So we're going to just toss them over there. Now, to the Baltimore Ravens. What's the guy's name? It's not Greg Shanahan. What's the defensive coach of
the one who just
of the Kansas City? I feel like he was in New Orleans at some point with Sean Payton, though.
Who is the defensive coordinator?
Okay,
it's not Greg Roman.
No, it's not Roman, but it's somebody you would know. But we'll find his name. He played the old. He played the trick. He played the trick on Lamar. He said, "We know what you're great at, so we're gonna take it away because we bet your black ass can't throw the football." And what did Lamar do? He bought into it. I can throw the football. I can. And instead of Lamar being Lamar, he was standing in that pocket. Now, he did take off. When he took off, he was successful. But he was trying to prove to them that he could throw the ball. Be you. What makes Lamar as great as he is because I don't want to. You know what? Fuck it. He is a running back playing quarterback who can do everything that a quarterback can. But they took, quote unquote, visually, looking at the defensive line, took the running for him, and they were going to force him to be something that he technically can be, but is not. And had he didn't let them get in his head, and if he was Lamar, because they don't come at Jared Goff like that. They don't come at Tom Brady like that. They don't come at Mahomes like that. They don't come at Josh Allen like that.
You're talking about the media.
Not with the media and or teams, because they dared him to be a QB all day, and he took the bait, and they lost.
Well, I mean, that's...
Well, hold on. I'm just answering your question. So, San Francisco had to go out there and just play football. The offensive, Andy Reid, and this once we remember this guy's name, you'll go, oh, okay. But, yeah, so I think Kansas City, minus the cold weather,
I mean,
they had an easy run.
I think your point helps my point. You saying the 49ers just had to go out there and play football, so that means straight up.
Well, I'm saying I think they had a more difficult job because they had to actually play. Most of these teams was already beat before they got to Kansas City.
Had to play. No, I don't necessarily.
Miami was hobbled. First of all, they're from Miami. That game was over as soon as they got off the plane, and it was -10. That game was over.
I'll give you Miami because Miami couldn't all season long. They couldn't win the games that they were the big games against real competition. They couldn't win. So I'll give you that. Plus, they lost to Kansas City earlier in the season anyway. So and it wasn't cold outside.
But it's not Mahomes. That's what I'm saying.
No, it was. That's why I said
when it comes to Detroit. Detroit, Green Bay, and who did? Oh no, they had to buy. They had to buy.
They just had to play Green Bay.
They had to get out there and they had to get on the gridiron and settle that shit out.
They almost lost at home in San Francisco. True. Both of them.
True,
but Green Bay is the more pressing one for me.
True,
because Green Bay has.
But there is also a child at quarterback. So as much as so you give him two or three more years. They're probably running the league. But that's what I'm saying. I think San Francisco
is still running.
Given the offense and the defense. Oh, no, right. I'm sorry. Detroit. I'm sorry. Anywho, I think that mentally, Kansas City had already had these teams beat because it wasn't like Patrick Mahomes has not had a game to where you were like, oh, my God, he is killing them. It's been offense and defensive schemes.
Yeah.
Whereas what's his name had to come back. Brock Purdy had to bring them back twice. Christian McCaffrey has had to score 2 times. I mean, minus.
But that's the other thing. Look at who they got, and they're barely getting by.
Okay, when you look
they
at
got Debo, who was hurt.
Kansas City,
McCaffrey,
Kansas
George
City,
Kittle.
Kansas City top 5 defense. Travis Kelce, the stealer of the food, but
no,
he did.
He did not steal.
He did walk it back.
The Wall Street Journal is out of control.
It's clearly there's not a black
between them saying that and them talking about Dearborn.
Hold on, we got to come back. We got to come back. Well, they did talk about Dearborn. That's because the mayor wasn't for no shit here, and
the Wall Street Journal is out of control. They're just saying things.
They are out of control.
Nobody reads papers anymore. How can we get eyes back on the papers? So it's the beginning of Black History Month. What can we take from them and put on another white man?
And attack Dearborn.
And then attack Dearborn.
I mean, but the mayor was right in what he said. I'm not saying that because we are, in fact, in Dearborn.
I'm tell people where we're at right now.
I mean, I've already tagged it I tag it every time.
Man, I tag it people gonna be pulling up.
I hope so.
Hey, can I be on the podcast?
You got to get through the buzzer first.
Oh, can I get on the podcast?
It's a child. But I was just answering your question why I thought San Francisco had a harder time. So we have to go back to your board now, or are we?
Oh yeah. Going back to my board. One of the points I was going to make was how San Francisco had all of those weapons, and still, once again, they only 24-21 was that the score of the Packers game?
When Brock Purdy led them.
I'm talking about the Packers.
Yes. Yeah, when Brock Purdy
24-21
led them to victory.
There's also experience. They made it to the last 4 out of 5 NFC championships.
With Brock Purdy.
Yeah, the last one with Brock Purdy.
He was hurt.
He got hurt in that game. He got hurt in that game, but he got there. He brought him there though.
He did.
He took him there.
It doesn't.
But he took him there. But he took him there.
He was hurt early.
It doesn't matter. But he took him there.
And hurt all 3. McCaffrey was throwing passes for that team.
It doesn't matter. He took him there.
Okay.
They went in this season fully healthy with the line. Honestly, I'm surprised the defense didn't play the way they invested in that. They got Chase Young on the defense, all that, and the Lions were running for whatever reason. The Lions beat themselves. 49ers didn't beat the Lions. The Lions beat themselves.
I won't disagree with
because they could not stop David Montgomery running straight up the middle.
So is that what you were going to lead to on your board about Isaiah Pacheco?
Oh no, I mean that is another thing
about
right
the
there.
Running game.
The running game is they got to shore up that middle of the defensive line.
It's going to be hard to do. The tight end Ertz is not going to be that person to stop Pacheco. He's on a different side of the ball. I'm saying that's the only person.
And a different team.
That's the only person that they had picked up. That is a different team. I don't know why I was in Detroit. You got me in Detroit. I don't know why.
You know why?
Yeah.
You don't want to say it, but you're bought in. You're bought in. They listen.
So would it be Pacheco and whatever other random is McGinn? Who's the guy that was on
Edwards
the 49ers?
Helaire still there.
But is the guy from the 49ers still on there?
Guy from the 49ers.
Remember, he was a starting running back, and then he was the number 2 running back, and then he went to Kansas City, and then he was like almost a starting running back, then he was the number 2 running back, and now he's the number 3. He usually catches touchdown passes. I want to say Jeff McKinnon, but that's a basketball player. You know who I'm talking about. He was a running back. He was starting on San Francisco. And then I think he got hurt. Because, San Francisco, they've been running back by committee for forever.
Yeah. Well, I'm fooling asleep deprived, so you got me trying to think of third string players right now.
We're going to think it up. But he was the first string, but he usually catches touchdowns for Kansas City. Like, he won't get you much rushing yards, but he'll randomly have a touchdown pass from Mahomes.
I know what you're talking about.
It's not McKenna.
I'm mixing Bills players up because in one hand,
he wasn't never on the Bills.
One hand, I'm thinking Latavius Murray.
No.
Then I know it's not Devin Singletary.
No,
it is.
He was on San Francisco starting.
I know who you're talking about now, but
maybe when Garoppolo was there, he might have been starting.
I know who you're talking about, but it's the food and sleep deprivation is stopping me, and I left my phone on the charger over there.
So we have to come back. Now, what I did do in the last one, I did type in names that we had missed. And I was like, "Oh, Bob Hope."
I mean, it's just, and I think like you just said with the other team, I think that Kansas City got the psychological edge over them as well.
So you think, what is this coach's name? That the defensive coach, you think for him, he'll try to put Purdy on his. That's what they were saying about because of how many times. Just to go back real quick, how many times they were blitzing Lamar, and that he should have just bounced out, but he was in there trying to stand. So do you think? Obviously, their weak point would have to be Brock Purdy. So do they try to make him mobile, or do they try to make him make quick throws?
Well,
because if you're blitzing Lamar a lot, knowing that he had receivers and was hitting them the last 4 or 5 weeks, that would make the same thing.
I would say that.
Would you do that with Purdy?
That would be him hitting his receivers would be debatable as well.
So do you think Purdy is more accurate than Lamar?
I think Purdy is more accurate than Lamar only because it seems as if Lamar always is trying to go for the big play. Like he's always trying to throw the ball way downfield. Like he very rarely do you see him check down unless it's to the tight end.
Purdy does like to dink and dunk.
Yeah.
And then go down the field when necessary, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like the Chiefs will be able to put pressure on Purdy without blitzing. I feel like their secondary is better than the Lions secondary.
Kansas City again. I don't care if they win. I like Mahomes. I like Kelsey. But
first of all, let me tell you something. Let me tell you this right now.
San Francisco needs a win.
San Francisco
for Jerry Rice
took my team out, so I'm not going with them in the first place.
You got to keep it.
There's legitimate statistics and analytics that go with why I think that they're going to win. But at the very bottom of that, at the bottom of my list, I got all these things at the bottom of my list. Listen, I bleed blue, baby.
Wait a minute now. You said that the Lions beat themselves. You can't blame it on San Francisco.
No, I cannot. They were playing the one thing.
They were just there.
They scored. What you mean they were just there?
You said they beat themselves.
They scored the touchdowns, didn't they?
They have to do their jobs.
It doesn't matter.
If the Lions had did their job, San Francisco wouldn't be there.
Absolutely. 100%.
So how are you going to hold that against San Francisco?
Agree. I hold it against because they was a team that was playing. Dang.
But they didn't drop the ball.
This is what
literally and figuratively.
This is what I expect from somebody who has no allegiance to any team whatsoever.
Wow,
you're just a
mercenary.
You're a mercenary.
A whore.
Just an NFL whore. That's what you are. The whore of the league. Have no allegiance to it. You don't know what this feels like.
No, I don't.
You just be sitting here like, oh, they're winning. They're playing. They're playing. I wouldn't say they're winning. They're exciting to watch. I like them. They're exciting to watch. I like them.
Yeah.
Oh well, they did. And then the week they're not exciting. Nah, I jumped on the train too soon
because you know my standard. If you can't get it done, then you are correct.
That's
to the wayside.
14 for 14, 475 yards and 5 touchdowns.
There you go. If you can't hold up to the standard, I'll leave you by the wayside. Now, because you said it's Kansas City, I just and we know Mahomes is above and beyond. Question: I saw this somewhere by one of our peers in the news world, and I wanted to know.
Wall Street Journal.
No, not at all. And I wanted to know, is Joe Burrow overrated? Because he has all the talent. Mm-hmm. He has all the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he has made it to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But when Lamar was injured, it was, can he come back? Can he do this? Joe Burrow has now been injured twice.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time, this season, his team did fairly well in his absence. I'm not saying the guy playing QB is nowhere near Joe Burrow, but the flack that Herbert gets, the flack that Lamar gets, the flack that other quarterbacks get, why is it that Burrow is getting a pass when arguably he's on a better team and he has thrown last season costly picks? So how is it that he's getting to skate by and they lost the Super Bowl? If they won it, I understand, people giving him a break. But why is he not being held to the same stick that the rest of his peers are?
So I will try
with a better team.
I will try to answer this question without
a more talented team. I'm sorry.
Right, yeah. I'll try to answer this question without adding race for Lamar because I feel like that is any negative thing with Lamar is going to be race related.
Okay, so we'll
in
go.
the first place.
So we'll go Lamar that's why I said Herbert as well.
Both of them.
Because Herbert and even Josh Allen.
Yeah, both of them. But the expectation for Lamar, because he was an MVP at one point, an MVP of the league, is like he's an MVP of the league, then doesn't show up in the playoffs or gets hurt in the playoffs.
True.
So it's like, all right, that's why he gets outside of race. That's why he gets the criticism. Herbert, I haven't heard a lot of like heavy criticism for Herbert. But if there was any kind of criticism for Herbert,
I mean, but Herbert's been there. But what I'm saying, well, in regards to Herbert, he has solid weapons in Eckler, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in
he can't. So Herbert can't have all of his weapons healthy at the same time.
Right. No, so I'm saying that's why he gets some criticism, but he's not getting the pass that Burrow has gotten, and that's what I'm trying.
Well, until this year, and even this year, they had the names on defense, but their defense wasn't playing that well. They still was
Cincinnati or
the Chargers.
Gotcha.
So they was still allowing. Shoot, that game against the Lions was a marathon.
It was.
Like they were still allowing a lot of points, and so outside of Mike Williams, who was their number 2, who was a very good, he got hurt. They still had Keenan Allen. Eckler was still there. And but then this is like they tight end was like, oh, is it Gerald Everett or is it what's his face Parham?
Right.
Then if you saw the games with his the third string, actually no, their second and third string receiver got hurt this year, so he was playing with the 4th string and Keenan Allen, and he was putting up the numbers. It was just they wasn't translating the win.
But that's him doing the best he can with what he had.
Yeah, which is why I don't think he should get the criticism like that.
But then that's my question. So why is Joe somehow escaping the criticism, especially by him being injured?
I would say because the one season he was fully healthy, he took him to the Super Bowl.
I mean, he did, but he still got sacked a lot. Jamar Chase was apparently,
which made him like if he's getting
everything.
Exactly, he's getting sacked a lot.
Got great running, very good running
back. Good running back.
Good receivers. Great wide receiver core. But good receivers.
Yeah, offensively, he had the weapons. So when he was fully healthy, you saw what he could do. He took him to the Super Bowl. Lamar, fully healthy, got stopped at the AFC Championship. Herbert, fully healthy, has not sniffed the AFC Championship.
But Joe would have had more talent than both. But you're saying it's him getting to the Super Bowl.
He got them to the game. The one season he was fully healthy, he got them to the game.
So how many years?
So it's like
should that buy you?
That
2, 3?
After a while, if he keeps getting injured, then that's going to be the narrative. It's like, all right, he can't stay healthy. When he is healthy, great. But then it's like, now if they really want him to be the golden boy, they'll spend it on the organization to be like, they just refuse to get him the offensive line to keep him up and keep him healthy. But yeah, no, he he's done more when he was healthy than the other ones have.
Has any
and when he got to the Super Bowl, he played the Rams that were about to run him off the field if Odell didn't get hurt. But got Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald was sitting there like, yo, I'm getting a ring today.
Yeah, they were rolling.
Yeah, so
okay, all right.
So yeah,
so that has bought him some time.
I would say
Super Bowl berth.
I would say that gives him one more season, depending on how bad this injury is, and if he's able to start working at the beginning of the season. I gave him one. In my opinion, he has one more season to show. Like, all right, you can get close to or to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl if you're healthy. Again, it wasn't just that little one-time thing.
Okay, because he was one of the few ones that had beaten Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
When it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to say Mahomes. He beat Andy Reid.
He beat the Chief. Yeah, for whatever reason, the Cincinnati's defense has Mahomes' number.
That's that guy's we're gonna look him up as soon as this is done. All-Star games coming up. Have you been catching? Have you been catching up with?
I told you after the All-Star game, I'm dialed in.
After the All-Star game. Do you watch the
All-Star
game?
Not really anymore. I don't even understand it anymore. Don't they like reset the scores after every quarter or something like that?
They do, and then depending on where it's at, then the fourth quarter is when is when it
And
matters.
for whatever reason, people don't want to join the dunk contest who should be joining the dunk contest.
They're scared. And now they got women and men competing in the three-point
They
contest.
got Steph competing against what's his face?
If he doesn't, and it's not because he's a man, it's because he's Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't wipe the floor with this young lady, because you are the greatest shooter. In order to be the greatest shooter, you have to be the greatest shooter. Now, mind you, Golden State has seen better years. They got Clay out here. Now, throughout the years, yes, they were the Splash Brothers. Yes, Clay was an amazing, one of the greatest shooters the NBA has ever seen. But where they're putting him now, I feel it's very disrespectful. It's disrespectful because they shouldn't have put him there in the first place.
Up high.
Right, because he was a great shooter, one of the greatest shooters ever. He could play the game at a high level. But I never thought he was I never thought he was that guy as a guard. Great shooter. Because now, to me, he's still a great shooter. Now, I never thought he was fast, but to his own admission, he has in fact lost a step. But like, you're still a great, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can still shoot.
Man.
So the issue for me, I believe, is confidence. Because now,
it's the
if
confidence,
the
but yeah,
Warriors
he can still shoot. But he was running around
you're
screens.
getting rid of somebody that helped get you 4 rings.
Absolutely.
But to me, that's crazy because that's who he always was.
He has
for
to
him,
change
it's
his
confidence.
game. I think it's the confidence, but
I'm gonna tell you what I always know. It's always the haircut too. When they were winning, he was buttery. Listen, he was buttery smooth, lined up, ready to go. He came back with this unkept fro, and Steph had to carry him past Boston. And listen, you can always look at the haircut. And remember, Steph didn't always have the cleanest cut, but when Steph started getting lined up, they were the Splash Brothers. Clay came back one year like,
put that headband
and that's what
on.
it felt. And that's what it felt like. Was it Jackie Moon? I'm looking at Jackie Moon. Like, if you don't get it together. But for Clay, I do believe it's confidence because, as far as I know, and I was nowhere near the shooter either one of them are. But you don't forget how to shoot, and he's one of the greatest shooters ever. So he goes, and the fact that we were talking about Klay Thompson not being on the Warriors to me is crazy. But obviously, that he's not happy, the organization isn't happy. But they got to get that man his confidence back. I think with a proper guard, I think he could do well in Detroit. I'm just saying.
Why are you always shipping people to Detroit?
I mean, just because he's a solid piece.
I think anybody can do good in Detroit right now.
Oh,
Who else going to score?
It's a redemption story. That's all it is. He gets sent here, and he comes back, and he realizes he's got that vigor back. You know, he's got his legs back under him. The jumper's wet.
He would have to get traded now while it's warm outside.
But they are saying,
if they trade him to Detroit and it's cold outside, he's gonna get here, and his confidence is going to go. He's like, I'm retired.
Yeah, but they are saying that he is on the trading block.
I mean, today at 3 is the trade deadline.
Well, then neither one of us have a phone on us, so we'll see what happens.
We're gonna get to the phone.
But I think it's very possible.
It should have been the trade deadline special.
It should have.
It should have been sitting there.
But I think it's very possible.
I got Adam Schefter on my phone. He probably been blowing me up.
I think it's very possible because I've been to a couple games, and like, they're a talented team. I mean, well, their main issue is defense, and ironically, I don't know if this is a Detroit thing.
The second half?
The third quarter.
Third quarters? I was going to say the same thing.
I saw them up against the Clippers, up 18. Up against Philadelphia, up 20. Up against somebody else, up 20. These are all in the third. And then lose by 20 in the fourth. I mean, lose the game by 20. That's a shift of 30, 40 plus points. The third quarter, for whatever reason, these Detroit teams are just...
What they got? They got conies in the locker room. That's what it is.
Conies, maybe,
and hot and ready.
Maybe it's women from the West Side in the locker room.
Easy.
If it was something from the East Side, they'd probably play better.
Easy. If it was women from the East Side, there wouldn't be nothing left in the locker room when they got there.
All right, now. Oh, okay. All right.
Where's my gym bag? Somebody took my headband.
Okay.
Can't find his hair pick. Like what?
Thank you always for
They
tuning
don't even know
in.
what locker is theirs. They took the name tags off the lockers.
Thank you for tuning
Took
in.
the decal off the floor. They go walk in there.
Take the names off the back of the jersey.